Hello. Let us know. You're on camera. They can see you.
But I'm not enough.
Can everyone hear us? Say hi and let us know in the comments if you can. So nice to do this again. We do this every single month. We have a moderator today, so make sure to thank her for doing this today and making sure that these comments stay good and clean and the way we like it. So
okay, good. We're getting confirmation that the audio is great. Thank
perfect.
You for that.
Yay. So what did I want to say? That if you want to submit questions for these live streamed Q&As, make sure to head over to my Substack. It's classicallyabby.substack.com, and you can submit questions for these live streams. Otherwise, we're not going to be answering questions that you guys are putting in the chat today, but we do love seeing your comments. Thank you for the person who says that.
My beard is on point. Yeah. I was going to start this off by apologizing for its scruffy mess appearance because I do have trim tomorrow, but I'm getting compliments. Maybe I don't.
No, he's getting the trim.
Especially under here, it's a terrible thicket. We need a forest fire to clear it out for better new growth.
Yeah, no, we're definitely, I'm excited for him to get a little bit of a beard trim, a little bit of a haircut, but I love Jacob's hair and beard.
So we took a few photos recently when we were out doing a 10-day trip. I did it for work down to Santa Barbara to the Reagan Ranch Center, which is actually spectacular. This is no shill. This is no plug. This is not because I work for YAF. Honestly, completely impressed with the Reagan Ranch Center. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But we took some photos, and when I smile, because of my beard and my mustache coming down, I look like a chipmunk because only my two front teeth are visible.
Yeah.
And I hate every single photo we took, which is bad for her job because she needs to post things. And I don't want to look like her scruffy chipmunk monster husband. So we have an appointment tomorrow.
To be fair, I don't think I took any pictures besides maybe one because...
There were two. I rejected two.
You rejected two. I took one by myself, and that one was okay.
Someone's commenting that I'm a decent guy, but since I said Tarantino movies aren't great, question the movie cred. We did have 2 reviews up about it, but I no longer have a YouTube channel because it's not relevant to my work anymore.
Yes.
So you could have heard more expanded thoughts. Nonetheless, we might have to revisit that at some point to absolutely confirm that Tarantino is not a good film director with the exception of like 2 of his movies.
Yes.
But all of this is not the point. To the point.
Oh, well, that we have questions from you guys to answer, but it's nice for us to chat a little bit before we get started. I like just being, here in the comments with you guys and just letting you kind of see what we're all about here on Classically Abby.
And in the Roth household.
And in the Roth household. So, it's a bit late, not actually late for us. We generally go to sleep kind of late, but it's like late because when we do this, even though it's a lot of fun, it's still in my mind kind of work. So it's funny that we're working at 8:30.
Yeah.
But someone, let's see, what did you say? Is that kombucha, Jacob?
No, I was hoping for an opportunity. Fighting Hokies, Hardywood Lager, apparently a Richmond original. So buy domestic, buy local, buy mediocre.
Oh, I haven't really tried that one yet, so I can't comment. But
that's fine.
As far as Jacob's taste in movies, I would say Jacob has pretty good taste in movies, and our opinions about Tarantino are definitely not wrong.
Yes.
There's not
and I say this as someone who grew up watching his movies. I loved Inglourious Bastards. I literally looked it up like 3 months in advance of when Inglourious Bastards would come out on DVD. And I had it all set up to order. And this is like back in 2009 or 10 when it wasn't as easy to get Amazon style. And I was ready. And now, no. But I want to answer some questions.
Yeah, okay, fine. So we're going to get into the questions. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's so fun to just be able to chat with you guys. We only do the live stream, or I only do the live stream once a month. And it's always nice to have guests come on and do it with me. But it's nice to just be able to see you guys while we're doing it, which is awesome. So the first question is, we got these questions, like I said, from my premium Substack subscribers. Some people sent them privately. Other people posted them in the Substack newsletter. So these are just from the people who are subscribed. So let's start off with the first one. I would like to know if you support 50-50 relationships and if that is the relationship that you guys have. Should girls contribute to the house just like the man does? So do you want to start or shall I?
Sure. So I had to look up what a 50-50 relationship is. I mean, yeah, it's self-explanatory, but you never know if there's a little bit of internet jargon or anything going on where the obvious version is not the actual thing. But it appeared that 50-50 is what it sounds like. You know, you try and come up with an equitable distribution of chores, labor, efforts, everything like that between the two partners. And I don't like that. I think that's ideological. I think that's assuming an answer in advance of the question, right? It has to be 50-50. It has to be fair and equal, regardless of the terrain you're dealing with. And it's in the same way that you can't just have a stock answer for how you're going to parent a child. You have to have a given parenting strategy for a given child. Some kids need to come out of their shell, and so they need to be prompted, but like given confidence because they lack it. Other kids too rambunctious. They need discipline to be calmed down. You can't parent every kid the same way. That's not fair to each individual child. Relationships are the same way. Households are the same way. And so it should be that you both have in mind the principle of what the relationship is for, right? It's for you both to grow as people in your commitments to your duties, your duty to one another, your duty to providing a household that will be a pillar in the community, will produce great children, that continues the legacy of your people, your culture, and a commitment to God. It sounds like a big bill of goods, and it is. And there's a lot of ways to achieve that, and they're dependent upon the participants. So Abigail and me, we're not going to be 50-50, because what does that even mean? What's the list of chores that you have to divide? Instead, I saw this phrase online, I like it, 100-100. Both be fully committed to the relationship, the goals of the relationship, and accountable to it. And then also do what you naturally thrive at doing and what is your skill set, right? So Abigail is more domestic than I am. And that's not an ideological thing of she's the woman, therefore she has to. No, she is naturally more domestic than I am. She cares more about the house being clean, which is a demerit on my end, but regardless, she cares more, and she's good at keeping it clean. She also likes to cook, and she's very good at it. And she's also home doing her work for Classically Abby, so these things are available for her to do. I'm at work at YAF 9 to 5 or sometimes after. I'm not available to do that so much. And when I get home, it's nice for the stuff at home to be done so that we can spend time together, which we both enjoy. So that's worth it to Abigail to spend some extra time working hard to get Classically Abby content done, but then also the domestic stuff done so that we just both have time to spend. If she had this ideological 50-50 in mind, she might leave some stuff for me just on principle so that I can be seen doing it. And then now things are done 6:30, 7 o'clock, and now we have a shortened window. But by the same token, there are things that I pick up the slack for the two of us. I do a lot of manual and physical labor. I handle a lot of the external policy of dealing with repair people, the landlord, everything like that. So we end up both trying to do our fullest based on what we're both really best suited for. And that's what it is. Now, hopefully you and your partner have a wonderful asymmetric skill set where you're both taking care of what the other doesn't want to, and everything gets done and there's no things left out. If there are, then you and your partner figure out how to cover all the missing topics. If both of you hate doing dishes, then maybe you have to come up with a plan to split things like doing the dishes. But that's after you're already doing what's natural and most suitable, giving it your all.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I think that no couple is ever going to be just exactly 50-50. Like, I like the idea of 100-100. We're both trying our best to put in everything we can to the marriage. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I do like to keep the house clean on a more general level. Mm-hmm. But you also will help when I ask, you know? And I think the thing that often gets lost in translation when we're talking about, traditional marriages is that if the woman had to do the support, had to work and was the one supporting the family, that people would expect her also to be doing all of the housework and all of the cleaning and all of the cooking. That's just wrong. If the woman, it happens to be the one who's out of the house supporting the family, like it was for me growing up, my dad picked up all the slack and did the laundry and cleaned the house. And so if you are in a relationship like that, then the housework, it really just is a negotiation at the end of the day of like who has the most time to take care of things and who's the best at doing it and what do you enjoy and all of that. Like I hate taking out the trash, so Jacob has taken that on, and that's something I really appreciate. How
you can hate taking out.
It's annoying. It drives me crazy.
Which is fine because I get credit for taking it out. It's no big burden on my end. So that's actually that's exactly what you would want to be the case. Is one of you does not understand the burden of a chore, so you're happy to do it. It's like, hey, I'm off the hook for something else to a degree because you're happy taking the care of the things I don't want to do.
Yeah. And then from a slightly like female perspective, I do think that there are certain things it's nice as a woman to learn how to do so that you can contribute. So I think it's nice to know how to cook. I think it's important for men to know how to cook also, but I think it's something very fulfilling about cooking a good meal for your husband. And I really love doing that. And taking care of some chores, not that you have to, but that you should know how. Because I think that like knowing how to sew, like sewing on a button or something, I think that that's like a nice thing to be able to do. Again, good for both sides to know how to do. But when the wife knows how, it's just like an added thing you can do as a gift for your husband, I feel like. But before we get into the next question, I'm going to ask you to take the lead for a second because I forgot to post on my socials that we started. So I'm going to take a picture and share it on Instagram. I would say wave and say hi, but people might not be able to read your comments.
So let me know when I should get going with it.
Well, you can just talk about whatever you want.
Just ramble?
Yeah, ramble before. Or you can start the next question.
I'm going to do the next question. Yeah. Okay. Question 2. What are the little things that you've learned about each other that you love, like endearing qualities you didn't expect? So this is a cute question. And I am very situational with my ability to like reciprocate the cute aspect, which Abigail is all too accustomed to. Usually I'm serious or zany, but cute's not really my frequent wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. And I'm not in a cute mood right now. So I'm actually going to take this seriously, which
it's
hopefully you like because it's what I'm doing. So something I've learned about Abigail that I find very endearing is she has a real growth mindset as a person in terms of her character. She's extremely mature in this way, in a lot of ways, but in this way especially. And she is someone who, you know, we all have our pet peeves or things that we hate doing or hate admitting to or whatever from when we're a kid based on family dynamics or what have you. So a particular thing for Abigail is if she does something that hurts me or upsets me, like legitimately so, right? Something that's not controversial that she admits was like painful to me or whatever. She really doesn't like needing to acknowledge that she caused pain because it hurts her, right? She loves me, and so she feels so much empathy that it just hurts her so much that she can't really address it or confront it, which is not great for actually handling a situation, and then also learning a lesson from it too, like, oh, I don't want to hurt you this way again. And so that's a big bugbear for her, which she overcomes. And that's something that's like, even in the last 6 months, there are like 2 things that came up, you know, normal marriage drama or whatever, and nothing in particular. But in both cases, it was something where I was kind of legitimately like offended or whatever. And she hated doing it, but she powered through and then like cooled down a little bit, took responsibility, and then she took the lead in. So here's how we're going to fix this. Here's how we're going to avoid it. We're going to take step A, B, C. And normally, you know, the person who's aggrieved just in the cockpit of here's how I want to never have to suffer this again. Not necessary. In fact, I was taken aback. This is more than I would have bargained for. This is more than I would have asked of you to avoid this thing. And she took the lead. So that's a big development.
It's funny
in
that you didn't expect that of me.
Well, so that sounds like that's not what it is. When you start dating someone at 23, like we did, you know, you're thinking your millennial thoughts of I'll have fun with this partner. And yeah, we share the same ideas about the life we want with each other, right? We're going to have children. We're going to have this domestic life. We're going to be religious. But the real character questions, at 23, at least we're still too young to like have a good sense of what's a relevant character trait thing, or what is up in the air. How does this person deal with change and growing their personality and like, you know, adapting that way? I didn't think to ask that. So as we've developed together, as our marriage matures, all these actual questions of character come up. And I'm continually taken aback by it. And I love it about you. And it makes me think I'm very lucky because you've met people who don't have good relationships and who seem to be the same person at 25, 30, 35, 50, whatever it is. The fact that someone can grow with you and like be a really responsive and good partner, I mean, I'm incredibly lucky. I am with a woman who grows over time, and for many people, that's not the case, and F's in the chat for them.
No, Jacob, that's really sweet. It's true of you too, though. That's the thing, is that this was always, I remember saying this in our civil ceremony vows, which were not like our real wedding, but we had to do it legally.
By the way, when I stare awkwardly off to the side, I am reading the chat, so it's not just me staring into the middle distance.
Yes.
I just want to make that clear. With my depressive face and sunken eye bags, I have a resting, angry Russian face, which I want to disclaim. I'm resting, but I'm not angry or particularly Russian.
But I said in those vows that you are somebody I really love and respect because you are willing to grow and you want to change for the better. And I think a lot of people have a hard time with that. I know that I struggle with it sometimes, but it's important to both of us, I think. So the thing that I was going to say is much less deep, and I was going to go cute,
which is
the question. To be fair, the question was, what are the little things that you've learned about each other that you love, like endearing qualities you didn't expect? So what I was going to say, again, very cute, not so much deep, was Jacob loves going to the zoo. And I love going to the zoo. And I think we semi-discovered this in the middle of our marriage. I don't feel like we even knew this before we got married.
Well, we didn't live together before we were married.
Right.
So it's not as if the limited time that we saw each other, because she was in New York City, I was in Charlottesville, Virginia, like a 365-mile distance between us. The times that we would see each other, we weren't going to spend it going to a zoo. We hang out and actually spend time more proactively than just kind of, hey, look, it's a bear. Which is very important.
Which is
hey,
very
look, it's
important.
A bear. That's one of my favorite things to be able to say at a zoo. Probably not in real life. Hey, look, it's a bear. Run.
But it's something that I love that we do together. Every time we want to do something fun and kind of just cute, I guess, we decide to go to the zoo because we both love the zoo so much. And it was Jacob is not a, what would you call it? Cute person. He's like a deep, meaningful, purposeful person with very deep thoughts. And so going to the zoo and getting just happy-go-lucky joy out of it is something I really enjoy about you. Okay, so do you want to do the next one? I'll read it. What are your personality types and how do they complement each other? So it's kind of a vague question in the sense that it's not like Myers-Briggs.
I refuse to do those zodiac personality tests.
Is that zodiac?
No, it's not. It just feels like it's the same thing. you like going outside, but not too much. You're friendly unless you're scared. It's too much hedging. I don't like it. It's I don't know, it's too broad. It's like the P.T. Barnum effect.
Right.
So they say you can give someone a vague description and people will fill in how they match it. I don't know. I don't trust it.
Well, I guess what I would say, if I was going to just talk about something vague but obvious, is that you are incredibly extroverted. And I am an extroverted introvert. Which
was a term that I thought sounded absolutely ridiculous when I first heard it. It sounded like a Myers-Briggs thing.
It does.
I'm an outgoing, guarded person who's insecure with confidence. It's too much hedging.
Yeah.
But the way you explained it does make sense.
Yeah. So the way that I explain it is that I actually really enjoy being out and about with people. And it's something that does give me joy and I really like it. If I go too long without being around people, it makes me sad, but I really need to recharge after being with people. It can be a little bit tiring. Jacob gets energy from being around people. So he could be around people. You could be around people 24/7.
Infinite appetite to spend time with people. It's how I thrive, which is why previous job of mine, which doing law, you can have law that takes all different kinds of forms, like being in the realm of general counsel, for a nonprofit. Yeah. But the previous job, I was working an insurance role, and it was hermetic. It was monastic. I was in an office with no windows, doing solitary work all day, every day. You didn't really need to cooperate with people in a team. And if you're a person who just likes to be diligent, drill down and focus, and you're an introvert, sounds like heaven. Multiple people I work with, one of my friends who might even be watching now, thrives in that job. But for me, no talking to people, no collaboration, no basically doing my improv comedy zaniness, which sounds exhausting and is, at someone who I assume is my friend and do this too. Yeah, that was hellish for me. So I need to be around people.
Yeah. But the thing is, this actually worked out really well for me because if we are in a social situation where I don't feel super comfortable, Jacob will take the lead and I don't feel like I have to take the lead, which is nice for me. Because often when I was dating before you and I met, I was with guys who were introverted. They would be attracted to me because I was extroverted and opposites usually attract. And
you could pick up the conversational slack and draw water from the stone, as it were.
It was so exhausting. I would go to these parties or events or whatever with the guy I was dating at the time, and he wouldn't engage, and I felt really uncomfortable, and so I would have to do it, and it was just, I hated that. And that's something that I love, is that when the two of us go out together, you can take the lead, and I don't feel like I need to be the one who's doing that.
No, you need a person to reins me in before I shove my foot firmly down my mouth, probably up to the knee.
Yep. Okay. So do you want to do all these questions, or should we skip around?
We'll see what we get to. I like this one. What was the proposal like? Also, what's one of your favorite memories you've shared together? So I think I have one of the all-time great Will You Marry Me speeches.
You do. It's
I
so
do.
good.
It was, as a rarity for me, it was eloquent in its brevity. So to set the scene, so we said in our How Did We Get Together story, kind of the journey to marriage from starting to date.
You should find that on my channel.
You should.
Shameless plug.
We could put annotations in here, we would.
That's what we would do.
But the way it went down is that got engaged at 5 months, 3 weeks in, and we were very open, almost basically from the second week. Oh yeah, so we're going to get married, right? Like the entire point of the project of us dating was we're assessing whether or not we're marriage material, and we took it as a given very early on. It was kind of like a ballsy confidence on my end, but Abigail was game for that kind of talk, and so we were focused straight out. So it was just a matter of when. And my dad made the joke. So we started dating at the end of May. My dad made the joke about 2 months in that at the rate we were going, we were going to be engaged or broken up by the end of the summer. And I made the joke, oh, that's too soon, like Christmas. And that was like, everyone thought that was funny, and that's, precocious, ambitious, everything like that. Well, it then became the reality. I lobbied for it, and I got everyone to think it was normal, and Abigail was on board. And then my mom was preparing the engagement ring that she'd received from my dad. So my father's grandmother had a set of diamond earrings that she and her husband got when they came to the New World from Russia, and very meaningful to the family. So one of those earrings, both of them were passed down to my grandmother. My grandmother gave one to my father and one to my aunt. And so my dad took that diamond earring, he had it made into the engagement ring he used to propose to my mother, which is a very sweet story.
Yes.
So my mom was going to take that ring, have it resized to fit Abigail, and that was going to be what was given to me to propose to her with, which is also very wonderful and very sweet.
Yeah, no, it's something that's super meaningful to me, and I...
Yeah, I was going to say, sure, right.
I'm like,
just a quick flick of the wrist. But so my mother had all this done, and she was going to hand it off to me at Thanksgiving. We were going to see my sister for Thanksgiving, Abigail and me, and everything like that. She said, okay, take the ring, and for once in your life, keep something kind of like secret and under wraps that you have the ring, and we'll wait for like Christmas Day of 2017 when you'll propose. I thought it'd be funny. Our parents were going to meet for the first time Christmas Day 2017. I thought, haha, 2 Jews getting engaged on Christmas. Isn't that funny? Because I live for memes. And my mom handed me this ring around Thanksgiving. And I thought, no, Thanksgiving it's going to be, because why not? And so I lobbied for it to be Thanksgiving, and ended up being so. And about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, Abigail was a bit worried that things were maybe moving a little bit fast or whatever, not for us getting married at all, but literally just an engagement at that point. Because I made the stupid, very Jacob-style error of telling everyone, hey, I'm going to get engaged around Thanksgiving. And she felt a little bit railroaded. She'd agreed to it, but she felt a little railroaded of, now everyone's going to think we're going to get engaged.
All I said was, I don't want to say no to you, but when I say yes, I want to say yes because it was my choice, not because everyone expected me and knew I was going to say yes. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to say it with like a wholehearted yes. I was the one who was saying it without any pressure from the outside.
Which is absolutely reasonable, which is why you should not do what I do. But it happened to work out in our case. So, 2 weeks before, Abigail's not sure, and like, crestfallen, but okay, we'll work with the timing and Abigail's feeling of resolve. But then a week goes by, and Abigail calls me on the phone. She says, you know what? I do want to get engaged on Thanksgiving, and we're going to do it then. And I said, are you sure? And I made her affirm to me every day leading up to it on the phone, I am sure I do want to get engaged.
He did make me do that.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, Thanksgiving time comes. Thanksgiving's Thursday. Wednesday, I pick up the ring from where my mom had dropped it off, and had it for me to hold. We're in Philadelphia at the Union Week Club because my sister's a member, and so she was able to get us a dinner reservation there. So we're gonna have our nice dinner. Everyone knows I'm proposing that evening. Abigail knows I'm proposing that evening.
Know.
Like, we had set it up. This is gonna be the procession of events. Blah,
like
blah, blah.
We showed up at the place and we kind of just hopped up and down. Like, we're getting engaged in a couple of hours.
So we're sat down to dinner. It's nice, not a very crowded place, elegant, fine dining. And so we order our drinks, but we're both bubbling over with anticipation because we know what's about to happen. And so we didn't even make it to the appetizer because I could see that Abigail was so angry, like handshaking as she holds the water. And I'm not particularly calm myself. So I take the ring out of my pocket. I get down on my knee. Again, this is like, we got the drinks. We haven't gotten the appetizers yet. And I say, let me put you out of your misery. Abigail Shapiro, will you marry me? And it caught the wait staff completely by surprise because normally and logically it comes at the end of the meal. But
yeah, the waiters were like, "What is happening? Do we bring?
So it made sense.
Do we bring stuff now?"
Like, completely confused. So all the celebration, all the other guests there, very happy. We get our food, and we can't eat because we're too anxious, we're too excited. So we get it wrapped up.
We get it wrapped up.
Exiting the restaurant, which there's a hotel attached to the place. We're going to go up to our room. And the maitre d', this woman, stressed, is like, I wasn't supposed to tell you this, but your brother-in-law and sister are on the way. Like, oh, they're going to surprise us at the end of the meal, which is when the proposal would have happened. So they would have been arriving just as that had happened, but I did not wait. So there we go. Yeah. So we sit down, we wait, we
unpack all the food.
Yeah, we unpack all the food.
So they don't know that we knew.
But then my brother-in-law and sister arrived with my parents. They were going to arrive the following day on Thanksgiving. They drove down an entire day early, surprising everyone so they could be there for the occasion. So it was wonderful. So
it was really, really amazing. I was like special because it was very us. It wasn't like Jacob. All these times, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but so much of the time with proposals, the guy wants it to be a surprise so badly that the girl ends up crying because something goes wrong or like she doesn't know why things are happening. So many stories like that. And it turns out, well, people love it. They end up having like a really intense, amazing story. But I'm glad I didn't have to cry on the day that you proposed to me and that I knew what was coming and that we both were very confident in that choice. And it was nice. What's one of your favorite memories you've shared together?
I mean, I think we just described
that's one.
In great
we'll
detail.
Just say that.
Yeah. Not to make you feel cheated on the question, but given the length of description in that story, I wouldn't want to hold us up with more Jacob story time.
Yep. I liked it though. I like when you tell it. It's nice for me not to have to tell our engagement story and that you like it.
Yeah, we do switch it off a little bit.
We do.
It's very nice to share, but as you could hear from the amount of detail, to tell it right can be a little exhausting.
Yeah, exactly. So the next question is, I'd love to know what you guys did while preparing for marriage and the things that you wish you would have done before the big day. So I have a couple things I can say on that.
I wish I bulked up. I wish I put on 50 pounds of pure muscle. That's what I wish.
Okay, well, here's what I was going to say. One of the things that we did before getting married is we were dating long distance the entire time. I've said this on my channel a few different times, that I have a very strict rule about long distance, that if you're going to date long distance, you need to spend at least 2 weeks together, like uninterrupted, early on. And then if you can, do a month together uninterrupted. Because I had dated a guy before Jacob, long distance. We had never done that. 9 months in, we are spending 2 weeks together, with my parents. And I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. And I just didn't know it because we'd never spent that much time together. With Jacob, we spent 2 weeks together early on. And that was very important to me before we got married, was that we do that and that we spend a month together so that we could see that even if we were in the same place, not just not living near each other, we enjoyed being with each other and loved spending time together. And it was very clear to me that that was the case and that I wanted to do that for the rest of my life. So, it proved what I wanted. Something I wish we had done before the big day is, because we were living long distance, we didn't do marriage counseling before. They often say that like a lot of, rabbis or priests.
It would have been nice to meet with a faith leader. So a rabbi that we would trust is particularly wise to meet and discuss the kind of things that Abigail discusses on her channel that we have learned over time. And obviously we got married in 2018, right? We still are very green at marriage. Our dynamic is lovely. I love it, but we're going to get better at this, like anything over time, because if you have a growth mindset, as you should, I mean, why wouldn't you get better at things? So yeah, it would have been nice to meet with a wise person you trust, who's already living a model of the life that you want, who can coach you on the early flaws you might anticipate falling into and how just to live a good, in our case, Jewish life.
And I like the philosophy that...
I'm going to get another beer.
Okay. If you can squeeze out.
Yes.
We are in it looks like we have a lot of room in here.
Nope.
It's not that way. But I like the philosophy that if you go to a marriage counselor before, or like a spiritual leader before you're married, then after you're married, and like in a time where things are good, then after you're married, if you guys hit a little bit of a rough spot, it doesn't feel like really dire that you need to speak to someone. It's just like, oh yeah, this is what we do. That's okay. We can get advice from someone. And I think very often people don't take the steps they need to make sure that their marriages stay healthy because they're nervous to take those steps. They feel like it's too intense. But if it's just something that you do because it's like a checkup with your doctor, that's a good thing, I think.
Pardon me as I
as you squeeze back in here.
Okay, there we go.
It really is impressive how big this makes the space.
Well, choosing the corner was definitely a perspective-altering move.
Well, thanks. Yeah, that was a good idea.
Very savvy.
Okay, so let's see. Next is, the answer to this question is no, but we can do part of it. Could you show us a picture of the look you had when you met Jacob, and maybe of Jacob too? What does Jacob think of your glow up? Does he prefer before or after?
I mean, we could find a photo.
We could.
There's that photo of the two of us the weekend that we started to date.
I might have it. Let me see if I can find it.
How could you not?
No, I mean, I would have it, but it wouldn't be like on my phone. I would have to go into like some old profiles.
While you're doing that,
yeah.
I'm going to look at the chat. My beer of choice.
Don't answer any really deep questions because those are reserved for premium Substack subscribers. Just as a reminder. That's not a deep question.
This is fun, lighthearted stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
Unless you take yourself way too seriously on the matter of beer, which I don't. My beer of choice. We really like sours quite a bit. This is not a sour; it's a lager. But we're very big fans of sours, and my beer of choice is probably the. I think it's Dogfish Head Sea Quench Ale.
Oh yes,
that's the name. Sea Quench. I know that part. It's a good. I think it's a Goza style because they use salt in it. I know Goza is like a salt beer, but whatever. It's a good beer that I really like because it's got kind of like seaweed and lime flavors. And I'm a sucker for that.
Okay, I found the picture.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
They haven't looked at this in a long time.
It's the chinos and the flip-flops.
I like it.
They're a bold flex on my part.
Look at my red hair.
I don't know if you could say I've had a glow up since then, but I don't like the way I looked.
I don't know if you can. I think you guys can see. There's a little reflection of my legs.
They can see.
I don't know what people are saying.
Yeah.
But I had red.
Hide my shame. This is too much.
I had red hair when we met. I had dyed it. I had dyed it a very, very like unnatural red accidentally. A year before we met, and then I needed to lift that out, and I did like an orangey red. But Jacob didn't like me with red hair, even though he likes women with red hair. He didn't like me with red hair.
I don't like it when your hair is wise.
Yeah.
On our wedding day, she had extensions in, and I made the joke to her, but very severely, because that's a thing I do, that I don't want her hair to be wise.
He did say that.
I don't want her hair to be bull caca. I want the truth on our wedding day. And so I still torment her about her hair.
My hair looked amazing on my wedding day, and I still recommend to my female followers get extensions. It looks great. It's very annoying to remove at the end of the night.
You want to start your wedding day off with falsity?
Hey.
I didn't wear any makeup on our wedding day.
Thank goodness. That would have been something I was
My
not.
eye bags were au natural. And going back to one person's also like small scale question.
Small
because I'm allowed to answer those. Can Orthodox Jews drink alcohol? Yes, there is no prohibition on drinking alcohol. You do have to make sure that like anything else you consume, it is kosher. And so when it comes to beer is pretty permissive, especially German style beer. Basically, water, hops, yeast, malt.
Is If there's none additives, you're safe.
That's all reliably kosher with no issue. If you're putting chemicals in, I don't mean that in a negative way, but like flavorings, like fruit juice, we're going to make this a radler or whatever, then you run into issues of, is that fruit juice kosher? Is the manufacturing process used? Do they have chemicals and equipment that might be a problem? Is it transported in a particular way? When you get to industrial food science and industrial scale food production, these things are a big deal. So the recipe might be kosher, but the process ends up not being so.
Yeah.
But beer, as long as it's just normal beer without any extra fanciness, it's reliably kosher. Drunkenness is not a Jewish virtue, and it's frowned upon, and you are not living a pious, virtuous Jewish life if you are a drunk. Yes. So don't do that. And a good example of not doing that is Noah's sin of getting drunk and revealing himself to his sons.
Yes.
God did not like that.
Somebody commented, I'm interrupting you because it made me laugh. Someone said, love the eye bag jokes. I have them all the time too. It's genetic for me. Glad I'm not alone.
I assume it's genetic for me. I hope I have that excuse. I think I sleep enough and I take allergy medication. I don't know what's left at that point to try and ameliorate this with. Yeah. So just, I look like I got back from Siberia about 2 weeks ago perpetually, which is why my Russian literature degree is thematically or aesthetically appropriate.
Mm-hmm. I think that's fine. This is a fine beer. It's not like
it's
delicious.
A lager.
It's not crazy, but I like it.
I'm not a beer snob. Lagers almost all taste the same to me. They are dependable.
It's fine. As far as you liking my glow up, I don't think that the only difference that maybe you notice, well, here, I'll give you a list and you tell me what you preferred. Okay. I exercise more now. My hair is brown, not red. I think I've developed my sense of style more, and I dress more feminine than I did. You
dress more consistent with the other things you have as aesthetic choices.
Yeah, I used to have a real struggle, and I still struggle with it a little bit. So I'm not saying that I don't, but I used to really struggle with my modesty, just because I like fashion and I like wearing what's trendy and I like those things. But as I've developed my sense of style, as opposed to following fashion trends, I've started to respect and enjoy dressing modestly more.
Yeah, and as you've discussed on your channel, you shifted from the wardrobe that you wore when you were in your master's program or whatever to something more feminine and modest. You just mentioned feminine, but also modest, which I really appreciate because I want my wife to look like a lady, not just a modern girl.
Yeah, it's actually really nice to be married to somebody who likes that I dress modestly. I think there are some men who want to see their women wearing clothing that like shows them off so that they can be like, look at what I got. And when they say look at what I got, they mean like look at what I got, as opposed to like, this is my wife. She's so classy. I love that.
The trophy of my wife is the trophy of my life, in that we live a good life together and you're a wonderful partner. And that is what is shown off of you and us. Yeah. I don't need people to be admiring my wife from afar as like an ego boost to me. I know she's hot. That was part of the attraction. And that's literally all the relevance of it to me. So I have no thoughts about that beyond it.
As far as Jacob's glow up, you didn't ask about it, but I'm going to say it anyway. You've got.
Have I had a glow up?
I think so. Like you've gotten a more, not as of today with the beard, but like you've been more regular generally with keeping up with the maintenance.
Well, I brush it and I put oil in it, which this is it brushed and with the moisturizer or whatever that you put into it. When we met, I was growing a beard.
It was so
but
much.
I was not taking care of a beard.
So much.
So, and I also had a penchant for wearing a green blazer with a vest. I looked in her words like a Scottish gameskeeper.
He looked like a Scottish gameskeeper.
If you invited groundskeeper Willie from The Simpsons to a fancy fox hunt, that's what I looked like. Just not with the red hair.
It was amazing, but I enjoy where you're at now, what you look like now. And I think you look very strong.
I can't tell if this is a poke at me or a genuine question, but
let's see.
Whatever. But does Jacob do his eyebrows? Isn't that considered a feminine thing? Yeah, doing your eyebrows as a man is a feminine thing. I don't do my eyebrows.
His eyebrows are just
Are you complimenting my
natural.
genetics? How nice. I guess the shapeliness of my eyebrows is to balance out
Our
the
kids are going to
sunkenness of my eye
have such
sockets.
good eyebrows.
Oh, they're going to be like Brooke Shields point out, apparently. Yeah.
Okay, so the next question, if I can move forward,
Yep.
is will you do more gaming live streams?
I mean, we're open.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was fun.
Yeah. Not to take things in this direction.
No, do it.
But the explanation, so we went away for Passover. Yes. So we went away for Passover. And then during Passover, that happened. And
I don't know if people are going to know. I had my miscarriage, our miscarriage, which obviously is a serious topic.
So that's why I don't want things to go in that direction.
Yeah.
But that happened. And so for the weeks, months afterwards, we were not in the mood to do that. And so we are open to doing live streaming again. It's just that there's been a pause for that reason.
Yes.
That's that.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question. And we're not going to stay in that mood.
Mm-hmm.
So continuing forward.
Lightening it up.
Do you want to do all of these or should we choose one? Because we've been on for about 40 minutes. So
ooh, okay.
Why don't we choose one?
Choose one. I like this one. Did any experience in marriage change or confirm what you thought about conservatism before marriage? So
can I start?
Oh yeah, please do.
Okay, and then you go because you're gonna have, I think, a more interesting answer.
What?
So I would say that it confirmed my view of marriage and my view of conservatism. Often we live in a society that talks about marriage like, oh, this is just showing how much we love each other. And it's just a nice thing that we can do now that we have been together long enough. So we should just probably get married. Getting married, it taught me, it is the best, but it is not always easy. And in those days that it isn't the easiest thing, if I only viewed it as fun and like, oh, I guess we should have done this, 3 years ago. Like, I can't imagine having the wherewithal to push through those kind of more uncomfortable moments to get to the like even better moments, right? So knowing that marriage is not just a preference, this is something I've been thinking a lot about. I've talked about it on my Twitter a little bit. I'm probably going to do a video about it, just about the difference between looking at these values that conservatives have as preferences and aesthetic choices. And, these are of value and they're important and they bring meaning and purpose to your life. When we got married, it became very clear that this is not an aesthetic preference, that marriage can't be an aesthetic preference, because if it is, you're going to get an aesthetic preference for something else 10 years down the line.
You could. It's too malleable. It's too mutable. I was just thinking of this now. The comparison I would make is you think of it like this. When you approach the idea of a parent loving their child and the idea of a parent's role, duty, obligation to their child, you would never, at least hopefully, never put that under the category of an aesthetic thing, right? I like my kid, right? I'm going to be a good and devoted parent, even when it's not so happy to my kid, because I like my kid, so like I want to, because, I get joy out of this, whatever, but it's very mercenary. That's unfathomable. I pronounced that, but sorry.
I got it. I got it.
We're good. As long as it's not too few, they understand. But that's hopefully unfathomable at this point in our culture. I can easily see that changing based on the way things go, not for good reasons. But people approach marriage that way, right? I'm going to get married because, I feel like it. I want to. This seems fun. And it's a very mercenary relationship to the relationship, right? So long as this is giving me positive feedback, I'm good. And it exists on those terms. Very light bonds. Your marriage should be like that idea of a bond to your child. There's a sense of almost unspeakable, unarticulable obligation and duty and profoundness there. That's so natural. It just rises up from the very nature of the thing that I am devoted to this child. I am responsible for this child. This is a fulfillment of my very purpose as a being. Nothing shakes that. Now, obviously, if your child is a criminal or whatever, and justice has to run its course. We're not talking about that. We're focusing on parenting, right? Mm-hmm. That's unshakable. You wouldn't reduce it to the level of I like them, so I'll do this. But if I don't, then I won't be so invested. Marriage is the same way. Its value and your ability to actually draw value from it comes from it being perceived as the duty and obligation and mission that it is. The big change for me coming to conservatism from being a complete libertarian atheist is the sense that when I was a libertarian, I still had conservative policy preferences, right? I thought the family was a useful thing, and therefore that should be defended or whatever. I thought that having kids was like a nice life-affirming thing, so people should do that and blah, blah, blah. But it was all of this very modernist, very utilitarian. I believe this happens to produce happiness for people and therefore should be pursued. But if you gave me a confidence-inspiring pitch that it was negative for a person, then, you know, all bets are off. There's no sense of real duty or innate nature there to things. My coming to conservatism was finding a belief in God, and in the sense that, no, man has a defined nature. It's not arbitrary. It's not that individually different. And you fulfill it best by living out these things. They are correct with a capital C. They're not provincial. They're not subjective. They're not highly individualized. They're the correct thing. And people can go all manner of awry in terms of what they think is best for them. And people can really fool themselves. I used to fool myself. So that was a big thing. But in terms of my answer to the question, not
what
just
I was going to say,
yours,
just to finish off, was that that is, I think, what you were saying and what I was saying. It's just that marriage is so important, and it is such a huge endeavor, and it's something to be taken seriously. It's something to love and enjoy. But as we were just saying, treating it like any sort of, oh, like, that's nice. It's just, it's not, there's a reason divorce rates are so high, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So now tell your view on it.
Yes.
On this question. Why don't you repeat the question just for anyone who's new, because we've gotten some new
someone keeps insistently asking, can you speak Hebrew? Abigail can. I cannot. I'm actually trying to learn biblical Hebrew bit by bit.
But you can read it. You can read the letters.
I can read the letters in the same way that I could read French, but I'm not going to pronounce it so well, and I have no idea what I'm saying. I'm a little bit better than that at Hebrew, but
yeah. I speak a good amount of Hebrew, but I understand it better than I speak it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the question, to restate it, did any experience in marriage change or confirm what you thought about conservatism before marriage? And something I was mentioning earlier to Abigail is a really big thing for me that changed once we got married was coming to an authentically conservative view of the role of sex and sexuality. And so before, as I was saying, I had that libertarian kind of you do you aspect, and I thought, okay, you know, people hurt themselves with sex and sexuality because there's so many emotions bundled into it, and so promiscuity is, you know, not likely to be a happy, fun thing for people, but sex can still just be at the level of a fun thing between individuals, and it has its role in procreation, but can have its role outside of it, and people get too uptight about a mission-focused view of it. And being married and now trying to start a family with Abigail and coming deeper into my faith, I realized there is such a profundity to sex because you are, every time you engage with it, rolling the dice on bringing a sovereign human life into the world, and the full depth of the idea that an entire human life can be created by this one small act is mind-blowing. I mean, the depth of that, and that your life will change, as it should, to care for this child, to raise this child, to participate in the transmission of culture and duty to God, the covenant across generations. And the entire project of life is making our culture or peoplehood or community better, and then transmitting that to your children so that they can then try and affirm it and reform it, make it better themselves, and hopefully one day reach something truly wonderful and bring in the Messianic age. And that is pretty consistent across the Abrahamic faiths, but there's an intuitive sense of, I'm trying to make this world better for my children. I'm trying to make children who can make the world better after me. And all of that is bundled up in the act of sex and inextricable from it. And so there's that sense of mystical, majestic, just unbelievable scale and depth. It's beyond infinite, because how could you reduce a life to something small enough to like really define and get a handle on? And so if that's all the essential nature of sex, that it interacts with that, the idea of taking that and reducing it to the level of, yeah, it feels good. Yeah, you know, I get off, you get off, like just, oh God, it's the complete most pathetic thing in the world, going from up here in transcendence, like I got this camera, up here in transcendence to just the lowest of the low. You're reducing that to the status of like a crappy drug. I mean, oh my God. Yeah. So I did develop in my views on that after we were married, because, you know, in our marital context, yes, you know, I had the idea of sex and its role in a marriage and everything along those lines and faithfulness. Yeah, but I still had that libertarian ethic of, but for other people, blah, blah, blah. and it was just an aesthetic choice for us. It works for us, but I've since come to a different view, and it was also part of me becoming pro-life, realizing that you cannot treat the generative act that brings a life into being frivolously, because the need to continue to see it frivolously leads you down a road towards devaluing an entire human life and being okay with the murder of the unborn, which was the case for me previously when I used to be pro-choice and I used to have those values. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, sex in marriage is like one of the most meaningful things you can do. And it's really sad that sex is so much just like a drug nowadays. It's just something that you do, like eating. And it's not like, oh, I need to have sex to. No, you don't. You have sex with someone that you are committed to and who you can raise a family with, and you join your souls in this really incredible act. And it's so special when you're married. Mm-hmm. But I think that's where we're going to stop tonight. So
that's roll call for this evening. Yeah. And to all of you who are asking questions, we haven't been not answering them because we don't like you or don't think your question's good. This is a Substack question-focused live stream. Mm-hmm. And so all of your good questions, we would love to answer. Subscribe, premium style, submit your question, and we'll be very happy to answer it. The little piddly questions that are fun, okay, we could throw out an answer to, but the other stuff, join the Substack and be part of the classic crew, and we would be happy to throw you an answer.
Yeah, so you want to head to, my husband's already, he's so good at it.
I'm part of the brand.
Yeah, so you guys just head over to classicallyabby.substack.com. You can become a premium subscriber and you can submit questions for live streams like this. You can get 4 exclusive videos every month now, where we've upped it. It used to be 2 exclusive videos every month, but now you'll get 4. You'll also get weekly articles, and you can submit your ideas for content pitch contests, which I've already done 2 videos on my channel that were suggested to me by people like you guys. So make sure to go over there and subscribe. As well, please give a big thank you to our moderator tonight, because she was the one who kept this chat great and really nice to be in. We really appreciate her. So please say thank you over there. And I would love if you would give us a like here and a comment if you want Jacob to come back on for a live stream. Or
and if you don't want me to come back on, also tell us so that we can respond and make the brand responsive to you. I will take those knives to the heart with a grin and bear it. And
no, we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. I love having Jacob on. It's nice. It's kind of a change of pace for me instead of just being alone in front of the camera, which I do enjoy, and I love talking to you guys, but it's always nice to have Jacob on here with me too. So let me know here if that's what you'd like to see, and we'll see you guys in our next video or the next live stream, which will be next month. So thanks. Bye. It always takes a second.